Insider trading is when people use non-public information in order to buy and sell stocks at an advantage better than the general public. This is a highly illegal activity that is not allowed in any practice, except for, apparently, if you're in Congress. Look at this chart right here by Unusual Whales. Brian Higgins made out like a bandit at over 200% the return on investment compared to the SPY index. This is a Democrat and Republican issue. Nancy freaking Pelosi is still on board with politicians' stock trading and buying and selling their own personal investments. Politicians, specifically those in Congress, are given a position of power and authority. There is no such thing as a congressperson that doesn't have relevant information that's not publicly available that can influence the price of the stock market. It's unacceptable for us to allow our politicians to profiteer off of their own offices. Being a politician means that you put public interest first, no matter what. That means that you might need to sell your peanut farm. Jimmy Carter did it. That might mean that you have to give up your Mar-a-Lago hotel. Or else maybe foreign governments will purchase your suites at above market rate and maybe hold banquets there. Or maybe just not show up for the bookings so money ends up in your pocket. Maybe a corporation really wants something passed, so they go to someone like Nancy Pelosi and they say, we have this really interesting information for our product. If we can hold off this legislation for a certain amount of time until our product makes it through, our company is going to be a huge success. A company doesn't even need to say anything more than that. And Nancy Pelosi can go and put all of her money into that company and then hold off legislation that company wants held off until they make their money. We elect our politicians because we are saying that we trust them to represent us. In order to represent us, in order to have our trust, we need to know that these politicians care about the people before dollars. This necessitates that politicians are unable to access their private portfolios and make trades on a regular basis. This doesn't even necessarily mean that they need to liquidate all of their assets. They need to put their money into an account that is run by someone that isn't a politician with insider information, and they need to do that now. There are already laws on the books about the disclosure of buying and selling stock for politicians. And guess what? The fines are in the hundreds of dollars for these politicians that are selling millions, if not billions of dollars of stock. It is a slap on the wrist. They don't even need to talk to an ethical committee about their infractions. They don't lose their position in government. They don't lose their guaranteed retirement. We need to wake up. There was a time where information spread slowly enough where maybe it could be justifiable not to have absolutely stringent laws on the books regarding politicians buying and selling stocks. And I say maybe, because realistically, I think this was just an oversight. This is something that should have been there a long time ago. another note, every single politician should have a completely open book about what their financial standings are. This means the President of the United States, that's been a long-standing tradition until recently. But every politician that is at least at the House and Senate level, they should disclose every dollar that is tied to them. So that way, we as the public have the ability to put them under scrutiny and determine if they seem to be financially motivated in the wrong way. Now, this is a big thing to ask someone to give up their freedom of private financial independence. But we're putting a lot of trust in you if you're running for office. It's a big deal that we, the public, are saying that you can represent us. So in order to represent us, you better be able to prove that your dollars are not tied up in the wrong sources. And if they are, we need you to validate that you have untangled yourself from those conflicts. We can do better as a society to ensure that our politicians represent our interests, that they push for things that make your and my life better. But it's going to take changing the system at a fundamental level. I really appreciate it if you made it this far in the video. Please like and subscribe, comment, let me know down below what are some other ways that we need to improve our system in order to make sure that we are being represented fairly and that our politicians have our best interests in mind. Have a good day.